What's going on, everybody? My name is Quentin Robinson, and I'll be your instructor for today. Best way I can tell you is this. Overall, I thank you all for choosing to take that first step into becoming your very own dispatcher. Because a lot of people won't even take that step. A lot of people will say, "Hey, you know what? I was thinking about dispatching, or I'm finna do dispatch. Finna. I'm from the South." All right. So finna is I'm about to, okay? So I'm about to be dispatching, all of that other good stuff. And then it's like, how many of those people actually take the step in which you're doing right now? So even though, you're taking a step and you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm very interested in this space. Let's just put this space, right? I'm very interested in this space. Overall, the main thing is that if you feel like you can help someone, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't feel like you can help someone, or you're not the type of person to help someone, this is the wrong industry for you. Go ahead and click out right now. Okay? If you feel like, hey, you know what? I want to be able to help people, but I also want to be able to make money. This is definitely the place for you. Okay? So, if you help someone, you get a percentage of the load, and trust me, some of these loads are ridiculous, you guys. I'm so serious. We're going to jump into a little bit of load boards and stuff today, and we're just going to jump from city to city, well, from state to state, all of that other good stuff. And I just want to show you guys what the market is looking like. Because, like, the news is going to tell you, oh my goodness, like COVID did this and COVID did that. But look at the trucking industry, right? The trucking industry still provided gas to people. Even when there was a lockdown, like really think about that. When there was a lockdown, there were still people getting gas. People still needed groceries. How do you think they got there? Right? Then you also had like people going to the hospital. Supplies needed to be moved back and forth. How do you think they got there? See what I'm saying? There's parts that need to be moved. People needed their cars fixed. All this other stuff. Canned goods, fresh produce, all of that. Tissue paper, water. How do you think it got there? A truck brought it in the middle of a crisis. Got it? Good. All right. So I'm so glad for you guys to actually choose iDispatch. Now, you know what? I just felt today, I just really felt really good today that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to share some knowledge with everyone today and just give it to them. Now, I will say this. Today, what I give you is going to be what will most likely be covered on Saturday. However, please still show up to the live thing on Saturday for the simple fact that you're going to be able to ask some questions, and I'm going to answer your questions that you ask me live. So if you watch this, then you actually got some time to put your questions together, and then you could just like, hey man, I'm trying to get to this next level, right? As you see, we're already here. So once again, I thank you all for coming to iDispatch, and so can you. You guys can dispatch as well. So let's get into it. All right. So our promise. Let me go ahead and move me a little bit. All right. So our promise to you during this training, you will learn about how you can make money with no experience dispatching semi trucks. Now I know some of you are probably already here thinking, all right, well, what if I got charges on my background? It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you guys how you start your own business to where you don't have to wait for an approval for someone else. Some of you are going to ask, well, what if I don't have any experience? It doesn't matter. As long as you got the training and you're working for yourself, right? You're working for yourself. That's going to make a difference. And I'm going to give you the tools all the way through. You guys will see, like, through today's training. What if you're like, oh, well, I didn't finish college or I didn't finish high school. Is this still possible for me? Yes! It's still possible for you. You're working for yourself. You're going to learn how to structure your own business. You're going to learn how to put your own business together. You're going to learn how to get your own website, 800 number, all of that. Literally for less than a new iPhone. Some of y'all buying J's and y'all buying bags and y'all doing all of that. But in certain cities, it's $128 to start a business. We investing in the wrong things, people. We investing in the wrong things, people. Let's invest in ourselves. So let's keep going. All right, so you also going to learn about the different roles of the supply chain. You're also going to learn about the startup costs, because a lot of people ask me about that. Like, well, how much is it going to cost me for me to start up this business, for me to maintain this business, so on and so forth. Usually, I'm going to just be, matter of fact, I'm going to hold that, because when I tell you guys the number, you guys are going to be like, no way. No way. How you females do it? No way. All right. So anyway, and I'm going to show you how to make money. Anywhere from $1,000. I average about $1,500 per truck, per lane, right? So throughout that week, I may move that truck 3 times, maybe 3 times. You guys will see what I mean. But I may move that truck 3 times in that week, and the pay is so good that, like, you know what? I average over $1,000. Okay. All right, so now we just going to go through some of these terms and let you know who is who, right? Before you could jump into a business, you need to understand what your role is in that business, okay? So whatever your role is in that business, excuse me, when you maximize that role, and y'all see, I'm not editing nothing, right? We're just going to be real in the field out here because the money is real, okay? But whatever your role is, we have to maximize being the best at that role. Okay? So, prime example. Some of you actually still working, still inside the workforce, right? Some of you are not in the workforce trying to find a way to do your own thing. But you will understand this. Being in the workforce, you ever had that one person that they weren't a manager? On paper, they were the same exact person as you, right? They had the same exact position as you. They got paid the same exact wage as you. But for some reason, this person feels like they can tell you what to do simply because they have aspirations of being a manager. And that makes you really dislike a person, doesn't it? Well, not dislike a person, but dislike their ways. Let's just put it like that, right? So what we don't want to do is be a dispatcher, but also try to be a shipper and a broker and all of this other good stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. If you go and you get the credentials to do that, then do that. What I'm saying is don't take on the responsibilities of what a broker is supposed to do as a dispatcher or what a shipper is supposed to do as a dispatcher, so on and so forth. So what you're going to learn is what roles people have. All right. So what is the role of a shipper? The role of a shipper, also known as a consignor, you may see that sometimes, right, is a person or company responsible for organizing oh my goodness, is a person or company responsible for organizing and transportation of goods from one point to another. Okay. Generally, the shipper bears the cost of freight, except otherwise stated in the transport contract before shipment. Now, with you being a dispatcher, most of the time you're not going to see that because the shipper is going to have an agreement with a broker. Now, the broker is going to be the person that works with the shipper because let's just use this as an example. The trailers that's on these big ships that's coming from China. Let's just use that as an example. You got trailers that's on a ship that's coming from China. The shipper is going to be whatever company it is in China. The broker is going to be the person that sets up a situation where they say, okay, well, we got 200 trailers, so we need XYZ amount of drivers to deliver these trailers. Okay? So just keep that in mind. What just happened? Alright, so now we're back to freight brokers. Now, a freight broker helps cargo owners, right? Cargo owners, not semi-truck owners, but cargo owners, ship their goods securely and efficiently, right? Brokers connect shippers with carriers. Now, whenever you see carriers, you're going to say, what is a carrier? A carrier is just simply a driver or, a semi. That person that's behind that semi is the carrier. So if you got a team, that's a carrier as well, right? And then help navigate and coordinate all the moving parts of the supply chain to ensure that the cargo gets to its destination, right? So that is like huge right there because what their job is to say, you know what, we got this freight, we're going to pair this freight with a good driver. This good driver is going to get it from the ports in Charleston, South Carolina, all the way out to Dallas, Texas, right? And we're just going to make sure that it gets there to its destination. So all of the other stuff that needs to go in between that, factoring companies, all whatever needs to go in between getting from point A to point B, and then a little bit after it gets dropped off to its destination, that's their job. So I know you guys are like, okay, well, if that's their job, what's mine, right? As a dispatcher, what am I to do? All right. So as a dispatcher, what are you to do? All right, here we go. Truck dispatchers schedule freight deliveries and arrange pickups for shipments and parcels, right? Their duties include scheduling truck drivers, relaying shipment details as arranged with customers, and setting up driver routes. Now, most of the time, your carriers are already going to have driver routes. They're already going to know exactly what route they want to take, right? However, we got so many other tools. We got Google Maps. We got all this other stuff that if we wanted to find the shortest route, it's not even hard to do. Okay? When we talk about our customer is the broker, right? Because the broker is representing the shipper, right? Because they're telling the shipper, hey, I can move this freight for you. I'll find the drivers for you. You represent the drivers. So you are the person that's in between the shipper and the driver. So you're the middleman between the driver and the broker. The broker is the middleman between the driver and the shipper, right? So they can't go to the driver because the driver's main thing that they want to focus on, because a lot of people miss this, but the main thing that a driver wants to focus on is driving. They don't want to send emails. They don't want to do paperwork. They don't want to pull off to the side of the road to pick up. They don't want to do all the phone calls. They jumped into the industry to drive. That's why they hire people like us. That's why they hire people like me. They want us to go and do all of that stuff on their behalf. Why? Because they do not want to do anything but drive. That is perfectly fine. Those that want to do more, guess what? They do more. They dispatch themselves. Do you know how many people don't want to deal with that paperwork? All right. So, what is a load board? Because I know you guys are probably like, okay, well, you know what? I hear about load boards a lot. So, what exactly is a load board? Okay. So, a load board or loads can be found on what's referred to as a load board. This is where the brokers, right? Remember, the shipper connected with the broker. The broker is now over the freight that's connecting with the carrier, but you are the person that's speaking for the carrier. So it's you two meeting together. All right. So this is where the brokers and shippers post their loads that need to be moved from one place to another for a rate. We will be going into a little bit about load boards today. I'm gonna be jumping from city to city just to like see what's going on. All right. So you guys can actually see as a dispatcher, contrary to what the news speaks of, how much money is still out there. And it's a lot. All right. They tell you, oh, it's a shortage. It's a lot of money still out there. All right. However, you can negotiate for a higher rate. All right. Now, before we get super deep into load boards, one thing that I want to do is get you guys to get a basic understanding of a load board, right? So, at number one, over here, that's in the right hand corner, we can see that the trip is 3,007 miles. Now, with that trip being 3,007 miles, um, we know how many miles it's going to take, right? So then we see the offer rate. Now the offer rate is 8,600. Um, that's that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. All right. So number three, we're gonna see um, where it's going from and where it's going to. Now, later on, you will learn what's supposed to go inside these parentheses. There's something that's called a deadhead that would go inside those parentheses. That means that the carrier is driving and they're moving without getting paid from the position that they are. Because sometimes that truck may end up in one place, and let's just say that it's in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're in Atlanta, Georgia, but you know the next load is also in Atlanta, Georgia, but they need to drive 20 miles. You will see like 20 right there, just letting you know that they're driving 20 miles without getting paid. All right. Number four is the weight. You guys will learn more about weight a little bit later. All right. Um, this is an example of a load board, but as you guys can see, this was 927. So I don't want to give you guys a situation as to where like you're looking at 927 and you're like, okay, well, what about today, right? What about today? So we're going to be going over some of that stuff as well. But I want to let you guys know how you get paid and you know